Welcome back to Diffusion Digital 2020. We're now going to do a deep dive on Rexsio, and I'm glad to have returning Christoph on the show. Christoph, could you tell us a few words about yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. I am a 15 plus years experienced manager that has some significant work done in Germany, UAE, Switzerland, UK, Poland as well. I worked for larger corporations, for banks, insurance companies, telco, automotive. And 2 years ago, I decided that it's time to do something exciting for a change. And I switched my focus towards decentralization, towards blockchain, towards DLTs, and with the goal to find a real use case for the technology that I found fascinating. Obviously, same background as most of the people here. Fascinated with Bitcoin, Ethereum, but there was more to it. So that's how I really got hooked on it. And in my private life, father of 4, 3 daughters and 1 son, and an avid mountain hiker. I just love that.
So do you carry your kids when you go climbing on the mountains?
I actually did that once. It was very difficult, and trust me, my back says thank you until today.
Excellent, excellent. Christoph, could you perhaps give us an introduction to Rexsio? And I understand you've got a pitch deck you can show us for a few minutes.
So let me share that deck with you. So I assume you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see it.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so Rexsio is basically effortless, low-code digital notarization service for insurance companies. Let me give you a few facts to start with. When you're insuring an object, it requires assessing its condition. Today, however, this process is broken, and so is the dealing with claims of insurance policies. At the moment, still most of insurance companies heavily rely on middlemen, so we're talking about brokers or claim adjusters, but they are just another untrustable, time and money consuming, and ineffective human factor in the process. And if we help reduce fraud by addressing agent fees, we could help the industry increase their profits by as much as $9 billion. We are talking about $9 billion annually saved if we can solve that problem. So let's talk about main challenges from today's perspective. We see brokers' involvement that has to tediously collect evidence like images of the insured object. We have then allocation of expensive and error-prone human resources that need to analyze those images. And then obviously a prolonged time of verification that could create a window of opportunity for people to act in a fraudulent manner. You know, think for example, you submitting evidence of a car for insurance, and it's actually a photo taken 2-3 months ago, before even there was an accident. So you'd be then acting fraudulently, trying to extort money from insurance company based on pre-existing condition. So we have a solution to that problem. It's Rexsio, and it's a complete data trust platform providing all-in-one fraud prevention, increase of documentation quality, a process simplification, and obviously surge of profit margins. When people are using Rexsio, the client, a person getting insurance, receives a personal link to the Rexsio web application. And then guided by this application, he takes pictures of the insured car, or maybe in the future, any object that they are trying to insure. Then for each image taken, a hash or a digital fingerprint of that image is instantly created on the device, and providing guarantee that any alterations of image or the image metadata will be immediately caught. And then those images are then enhanced with additional information, classified using our AI and OCR components. And finally, Rexsio sends them directly to the insurance company, and at the same time seamlessly creates a seal of trust on the blockchain. We call this process decoupling of data and trust because it doesn't require you to change your entire IT infrastructure. You can still use what you have, but we are adding something on top. And we designed Rexsio as a privacy-first solution. So unlike in the case of our competitors, our clients can choose to deploy Rexsio on their own infrastructure and also integrate it with their existing IT landscape. All this happens in a very user-friendly manner and with an out-of-the-box end-to-end chain of trust for the data that we're providing. We went beyond that. End-to-end chain of trust is great, but what about end-to-end usability? We added it to Rexsio, and so when you're implementing our technology on your premises, it only takes a few minutes.
Christoph, I can't hear you anymore.
Oh, can you hear me now? Test.
Am I the only one who's not hearing Christoph anymore? Oh, okay. Then continue, Christoph. This is going to be interesting because I can't hear anymore.
Okay, so
all right, go on. I'll fix it on my end.
Okay, so I will ask my colleagues here just to give me a heads up if this is spreading in waves, but right now it seems to be working fine. So just coming back to the topic, the implementation takes only hours. So if you are installing Rexsio on your premises, basically in a few minutes you can have the entire stack ready and deployed. Same applies to the user. Our end goal is to have something that's easy to use for end users, not just for the 1% of IT people who understand blockchain, but it has to be easy, intuitive, and deployable from the get-go for all of us. We have currently 3 insurance-centric use cases when we're talking about Rexsio. First one is anti-fraud, where we aim to limit opportunities for various fraud attempts. Then it's comprehensive cover for new policies, where we significantly limit the broker's involvement. And finally, servicing collision claims, where we can handle those simple ones without the needs of a claims adjuster. And I think a great product deserves only a greater team, and we are a fantastic team of not only co-founders, but also friends. As I've told you, Walid, before, I'm a consultant and architect with global experience across industries. Stanisław, who is our CTO, is a published and accomplished researcher and specialist in blockchain field. And Przemek, other co-founder, is an experienced business developer. He has a proven track record of creating and selling software globally. Yeah, so...
yeah, I'm assuming you can still hear me. I, for some reason, can't hear you, Christoph, anymore, so I'm just going to ask my questions. And once you stop talking, I'm assuming you finished it. So it's going to be interesting.
Okay.
So, Christoph, could you tell us a little bit about the origins of your story? You know, how did it start? Because, you know, a lot of people are want to be an insurtech entrepreneur or an entrepreneur in general, and it's always, how do you begin? How does the story begin? If you could spend a minute or two in telling us about that.
Of course, gladly. So in our case, initially, this was a blockchain-centric R&D project that took off with DAC, a company that Rexsio spun out from. As I told you before, my goal was to do something exciting for a change. So blockchain really felt like that platform that we can make something amazing with. And the project that we launched, we decided to validate this idea, and we participated in 2019 Diffusion hackathon. Thank you, Outlier Ventures, for that. We went to wonderful Berlin, and turned out that it was a great success. We won 2 track prizes and an overall bronze runner-up, which gave us really this boost to proceed with that. From small R&D project, from testing the waters, how blockchain fits into a business narrative, we decided to really make it a full-time company for us and for me and my co-founders. We started with global ambitions from the get-go. So once the company was established, once the product was developed, once first feedback from early adopters came, we applied for a acceleration in Reno, Nevada. We went there. We wanted to scale globally. We wanted to become a company that is global from day one. We tested the American market, how it fits, how our product fits, so the typical product market fit. We found great use cases for Rexsio in the US, but we came back to Europe to work on them here from this part of the world, partially obviously due to COVID pandemic. but it also gave us a boost to work on that more, because we saw then the opportunity to really create a trust platform for those uncertain times. And finally, we circled back to where we started. We joined Basecamp, Outlier Ventures Hackathon and acceleration program. And yeah, this is what brought us here to this amazing metaverse committed community.
Excellent, excellent. So I'm getting the audio, but with a few minutes delay on my phone. So and we're getting a lot of really great questions coming through the panel here. But before we get onto it, I want to know, why did you feel you had to start this startup? What was it that made you felt this was really the good opportunity? Was it really about, you wanted to tackle, for example, privacy awareness? What is your perspective on that, please?
So if you're talking about why the startup, then we have two aspects of that question. For me personally, I'm passionate about finding new ways technology can solve problems. And I believe DLT and blockchain is first tech in years that has the potential to change how people and businesses truly interact with each other, to really give that, to level the scales of trust between bigger and smaller partners. This company, Rexsio, aims to do so, but also at the same time without intimidation factor that blockchain is tainted with. So the managers and the normal users who want to have trust, we don't even call it blockchain, who want to have trust component in their life, if they understand that blockchain can be that trust carrier, they are still intimidated by it. So we decided from day one to make it a very easy, smooth, and deployable solution that can abstract all those complexities that comes with blockchain. And if we're talking about why startup as a company, Rexsio fixes a broken process. I told you about how insurance claim handling and new policy handling looks today. We are fixing that. We create a trust, we apply also AI to that component. And also due to our professional background, again, working 15 years for big business, I do understand that larger corporations have a certain inertia. They are not able to go directly to a new technology. They need a process that is gradual, and they need something that is not going to erase their legacy IT infrastructure. It's going to complement that. So that's also the startup why.
Yes. So that comes nicely with the question that some of the audience are asking is, for example, are any insurance companies or just any companies in general that are already using or testing your product? And then the second question is, how do you know if an image is legitimate in the first place?
So let's start with the first question. We have right now, I'm not at liberty to name those companies yet. We have two adopters outside of insurance vertical already using Rexsio to create a digital notarization for data that they are consuming and providing to their partners. Without giving names, one of those companies is processing satellite images from high-resolution satellite providers like Airbus or Copernicus, and they are providing insights to their customers based on those images. So, for example, grid operators in Italy are using their product to estimate when they need to perform some maintenance work that will keep that grid in a good condition for the next years to come. An example is wooden area and woods getting too close to a high voltage power line. When they need to be cut, this typically triggers an expensive process, get confirmation that you can do that, get a permit, hire crew, hire equipment. We're talking about 6 figures sometimes. So they are using Rexsio to create a proof that whatever they recommended to their client was based on something that happened or was provided to them at a particular point in time, so that they are not exposed to any potential claims due to using incorrect or fraudulent or older images. The other company is creating a component that exposes a AWS S3 compatible bucket object storage interface. and they wanted to extend their offering to their customers by providing trust component for the data. Because what you should understand about Rexsio is we have component that can be plugged into an existing AWS compatible pipeline or Google compatible, Azure compatible pipeline, and then adds to anything that passes through this component a digital notary proof of trust. Now, you might think, okay, this is a SaaS solution. You are exposing data to a third-party provider to create that trust. No, we don't, because you can deploy that same component on your premises and basically not change your infrastructure. Yeah, and the second question, can you help me out, Walid? What was that?
Okay, sorry, I've got a 20-second delay in the audio. Yeah, so the second question was very much around, how do you validate that the image is real, and that it's not been doctored or it's not been taken from somebody else?
Define real. We are, as the picture is taken with the mobile device, this picture at that time is being notarized. So we are generating hash for that image and then sending that to the consumer, to the end user. So we don't even allow access to the mobile device's photo album. If you're asking, is it a bulletproof solution that will cover all the edge cases? I would say probably not. But if we can solve 90% of trust issues with people who could cheat but are limited from doing so, we are already helping our clients, insurance companies, focus on those few percent edge cases that they otherwise would probably lose in the noise of typical data traffic.
Okay. So in terms of the next question is, what are the biggest challenges you've had to overcome? I mean, traditionally, startups, it's, building the team, it's fundraising, it's getting your first customer, it's scaling. What has been some of your biggest challenges that you've managed to overcome that you can share with us?
Let me start off by saying I had plenty of luck with the team that I have had as my developers and as my peers here. So where others struggled with finding the right developers, the right skill set to build products, I was lucky. But where we struggled in the beginning was to design the architecture that is going to be robust and manageable by our clients on their premises. If you are typically building a SaaS solution, you have the comfort of having everything on your premises. You keep the monitoring, you keep the tabs on your infrastructure, you maintain that. And so with this whole responsibility comes also the comfort of being able to manage that. Now, if we want to provide privacy and full data ownership retained by our clients, this means that the infrastructure is deployed on their premises. That's obviously the default version. If our clients want to, we can also provide a SaaS solution, but we are privacy obsessed. So if you want to have a technology that is deployed on your client's premises, it's robust, it's going to stay there for a while, and it's not going to crash. Thinking about that architecture component, that's a challenge. So yeah, I would say definitely the first weeks were talking and discussing how to make that happen.
Right. So let's discuss about, what's next. What are your plans, for the next 6 to 12 months? And what is the addressable market? Are you focused, on just Poland, on Europe, or global? And my last question related to that is, how can people get involved?
Okay. So what's next? A wise person once said that if you have released a 100% ready product, you have released too late. So we are still working on making it even better. There's always something we find. There's always something our early adopters, our first customers tell us that we should maybe include in the product offering. So we are building and making it even better, even more usable across a number of verticals is our key goal for the next 6 to 12 months in terms of technology. But our main goal is really sales and touching base with biggest insurance players out there, not just Poland, but also globally. Sales cycles in insurance industry are typically long. We're talking about 6 at least months, if not longer, to get the tech validated, to see if it fits, to see what really solves it, what it solves for them. And having said that, we are focusing on hiring the best salespeople right now who can really reach the right people, the right C-level people who are willing to listen. We are partnering with companies who are providing service integration services to give them Rexsio as a tool that they can use to extend their offering. And in terms of how people can get involved, reach out to us. Tell me that you'd like to see that in action, to see that working maybe on a small project you're working on, or maybe just a POC for a company that you work for that can benefit from a trust component that does not require you to change anything about your infrastructure, that simply plugs as a Lego brick into the sweet spot of your IT infrastructure.
Sorry. So thank you very much, for that, Christoph. Again, apologies, guys. I got a 20-second delay with the audio. We're rapidly running out of time. If there's any last-minute questions that you'd like to ask, please shoot it ahead. Go ahead. Okay. So, Christoph, I'm gonna thank you very much, for sharing your insights, regarding Rexsio. I hope it was informative for all of you attending. We're moving into the next phase now, which is the Basecamp application. So it's back to you, Outlier Ventures.